We're all set.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the Board of Zoning Appeals to order at 5 p.m. Roll call.
Mr. Willis,
Here.
Ms. Vukotic,
Here.
Ms. Andrus, Mr. Reed,
Here.
Chairman Rowe.
Here. All right, can I get approval of the September 28th, 2022 regular meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Ms. Vukotic,
Yes.
Mr. Willis,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Chairman Rowe.
Yes. All right, before we get started, I'll let you know this is a board of 5. Unfortunately, we have one member missing tonight, so you'll have the option if you decide to postpone till next month when we would hope to have a full board. Otherwise, we could proceed tonight, which would mean you'd need 3 yes votes out of 4 of us for your variance to be accepted. So should you decide to proceed, then when I state the case, just make sure you step up to the podium, sign in, state your name, address, and then give us a little bit of information about the request that you are asking the variance for. So with that, are you going to proceed? Okay. So first is W1693-22 waiver of ordinance 097-2003, section 1157.03E relating to paving and grading. The location is 4911 Windscape Drive. The applicant owner is Brian Campbell.
You want my home address or the actual? Business address.
Don't matter.
Right. What I basically am looking at.
Go ahead and state your name,
I'm
address.
sorry,
and time.
Brian Campbell, 4822 North Teal Lane, Oregon, Ohio.
Okay.
And bought a site over in Windscape, and in lieu of doing concrete or asphalt, I'd like to propose using a true grid paving system. And the reason being, I think it's a great product. It's a recycled product, green for one thing, great water retention. It's a permeable pavement. I was in the concrete industry, chemical industry for 25 plus years. So I know concrete, don't like asphalt, but that's another story. But it's got it's a great product. I seen it probably 10 years ago and used it along with ICS, which is an insulated concrete form. And I just fell in love with the product. So I'd like to try it here. You know, it's been used overseas for probably 40 years. And it just, not this actual company made it over there overseas, but similar products. And I know a lot of people are resistant to change, but I think this is a great product. So it's got great compressive strengths. It's just itself has got a great, without any other stone and stuff like that, no aggregate in there. It's a great clean product. As far as usages, I don't know if you guys have looked at any of this product, but it's been used in a lot of commercial applications. It's been used with the military. It's been used commercially, like Whole Foods use it in their parking lots. It's used all over in California. So it's a great product. I just want to be able to get the opportunity to try to use it here. I think the city of Oregon would benefit from it and a lot of their things because the cost savings. Concrete, asphalt's been going crazy. I know there's an increase in just cement for this year proposed, over $20 a ton just for raw material cement. So then you're talking with the increase of petroleum-based products, which we all seen that at the pump. you're going to have more. This is a 100% recycled product. And I think it's environmentally, it's a great product. Now, dust control, you can plow over this with snow plows because it's basically the top surface is eliminated. So you're basically, that surface you're riding on is the grid. So you have your base material, this on it, this is filled in, so you have the integral strength of that, and it also, excuse me, it allows for expansion and contraction. And it's got a pocket underneath it actually for retention of rainwater and stuff like that. So great product. What I've seen of it, I don't see any downfalls, or anything that I would say that would detract from using the product. So I'll let Mike speak on this. He knows a little bit more the technical stuff on it.
Looking at.
So
From an engineering standpoint, it's just, and right now we're talking about the dust control. Essentially you build say a 12-inch stone aggregate base underneath the entire system. These are laid on it. Everything's compacted. These are laid on it. And then the cells are filled with gravel and compacted. So the tires, essentially the gravel will settle down below the cells, and the wheels and tires will actually be on the surface of the grid itself. So as far as kicking up any stone or dust, and the stone is a graded stone, it's not a mixture of sand and gravel, so it's not something that would normally be dusty under conditions. We thought this would be a good application for it because he has it being a storage unit and there's only a limited number of units there. It's going to be a low volume, low speed. You're not going to have cars flying around the building. Just going to have a few visitors here and there. So it looked like a good place to use it. We sent you guys some of the literature where they've run into, where they've come up with their testing for the dust control. They do have, I've seen similar products installed. I have not seen this one installed. They do have a 10-acre similar storage unit site, I think in Millersburg, Ohio. So they've used it in large applications. As Brian mentioned, Whole Foods uses it. It's 100% recycled. All the engineering data looks good as far as the strength of it, traffic bearing on it, and everything looks good. So we're just hoping to try it out and have you guys say it looks like a dust-free surface to you and meets the zoning requirements.
you're able to use any kind of, basically once you get your base, you can actually put any decorative kind of a stone aggregate. You can put pea gravel, whatever. So definitely not going to have much. Most of your dust is created from compaction. So breaking down the aggregate. So that's.
You're talking about a 12-inch base under this?
I was thinking more of probably about a 6 to 8.
Yeah. The 12. What happens is the base underneath it. It doesn't need it for the strength. What they use that for is for detention. It's porous and it so much of the.
Okay, even at 6 to 8 inches, how are you going to do the drainage off of that?
Well, I've talked to Rodney, and what we were going to do with this is we'd have the base, and then we'd have to have some under drains, probably finger drains at the catch basins, and we're still going to have some detention. We're not going to be able to use that entirely for detention, but some of the base is available for detention. And then whatever goes through the gravel will end up being collected in the under drain, taken to probably a yard basin like detention area. And then eventually outlet.
All right,
But the
so,
first step was to get the approval on the dust-free surface.
yeah, so Rodney pushed this to us, right? This is Rodney, because the code does say paved surface,
It says permanent dust surface.
Paved.
And they're permanent.
but it says paved in the zoning code.
Does it say paved?
I just read it right before the meeting, just to verify.
Okay.
So this is not a paved surface.
This is a paver.
I think the intent of the code, is asphalt or concrete, so that's, he can pull it up and show you. So are we the one that are supposed to differentiate between what a paved surface is?
Well, what it is that it's in the zoning code, but I always allow the public service director to pick the approved surface. It's always been,
Doesn't say
it's
paving.
always been asphalt.
It says paving/grading as the title, and then it says,
Go to E.
oh. Yeah, you did highlight E. So it's titled paving/grading. It says the required. Sorry, I think so. Paving/grading, and it says the required number of parking spaces together with driveways, aisles, and other circulation areas shall be improved with such material to provide a durable, dust-free surface. Parking areas for more than 5 vehicles shall be paved with a permanent, dust-free surface in all commercial districts or if located within 200 feet of a residential district. All parking areas on properties located within zoning districts R2, R3, R4, or R5 shall be paved with a permanent dust-free surface.
So is this board supposed to identify?
Well, we haven't in the past approved anything like this. So
No, the only-
It was denied. So they're challenging our decision.
The only times I've ever seen it used is on
Fire
fire department drive lanes, on the backside of access, that type of thing.
Right.
Something that's, it's there, it's required, but it's not used unless an emergency purpose only.
Like
Or-
we've done around dormitories at UT where they've actually planted grass in it,
Correct.
where it would support the weight of a fire truck on the backside.
Right.
So that's the only,
We've
that's,
done that here too.
yeah, that's the only place I've ever seen it used.
Same in Toledo. Yeah, it's that way too. Is this industrial zone?
This is a CI, commercial industrial zone, so that is correct. We would view this as an industrial use.
How close is residential?
Across the street.
Across the street.
Okay. So it would require dust-free according to that section I read, because it's within 200 feet.
It's nowhere
No,
near.
it's,
No?
Nothing.
it's all drive aisle.
So,
Yeah, it's
On the other side.
of,
Yeah, but doesn't say all
here,
drive
here you go.
aisles.
It's,
there's a map up there.
Right there. Right above you.
So you're building storage buildings on the site?
Yeah, initially just one, mainly for like RVs and stuff like that. Basically, just to put, first one is going to be a 136 by 56.
I've read that wrong.
Yeah, 9-bay unit, heated,
Concrete floor and that?
concrete floor and that.
Whole type
Heated.
structure or whole type structure or foundation?
Yeah, it'll be a foundation with a pole structure.
So do I understand correctly then that you've worked it out with the drainage engineer, how this product's gonna be, whether it's impermeable or permeable or what he's
No.
gonna accept?
That, we're still in the works with that because this was the first step, but he's basically said he won't accept full
100%.
100% of what we're running into.
Yeah.
There will be, obviously it'll be less permeable than concrete or something. We did decide that since we're into clay soils out there, we will have to do some kind of under drainage and a reduced size of detention area. So we can't completely follow their guidelines. So that's where we left it, but the first step was come in here and
So this-
if it's not dust free, you know.
So the
it's-
stone that you put in there that you're gonna call drainage capacity stone is all wash stone, no fines, even the sub base for it?
we're supposed to use, that's what, to get the voids that we're gonna need will be a wash stone.
You know, I would be totally nervous of intentionally trapping water underneath my pavement in this climate.
Well,
I mean, if you put drainable stone in there in a perimeter drain, you're never gonna retain any water in there. That water's gonna run out of there like a faucet.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? If it's wash stone as your base
well-
and you're gonna retain that water and put under drainage, that's working, you are never gonna hold water. It's never gonna retain water. Does that make sense?
it would fill the voids if it were,
It'd run right through if you use
well,
wash
if you're
stone.
metering the flow out of the, I mean, I get what you're saying, it's, and that's part of what they're preaching is that you have all that void to, the water will, but if it saturates, that it's gonna fill up those voids. So if you allow it to full flow out of there, then it will. But if we have to meter it, then it's going to back up and it's going to fill. My concern as an engineer was, you know, do you have the strength? Because obviously you start filling voids in the stone with water, you know, you lose some of that strength at some point. But all the numbers look like it works.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of roads and stuff in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But, you know, most of the minimum, like in Pennsylvania, when I was working in that area, they were looking at what, 3750, I think was their minimum spec. I'm not sure what Ohio's is, but, you know, I used to do a lot of bridge decks and you're talking 6,000 PSI strength. Maybe if you're doing an overlay, you might get 10,000 PSI, and that's with microsilica. You're looking 8,000 PSI with this.
With a granular, with a
And with-
wash stone underneath.
Yep, 8,000 PSI.
What happens after year one when you got grass growing everywhere?
When I got grass growing everywhere,
Because you will.
right? You're not, if you put a barrier down, you're gonna have a,
You will.
well, what do you do? What do you guys do for maintenance for your grass?
Even more dust free.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it. It's not.
I get it.
Yeah.
There's always, I
It'll
mean,
grow.
it's, you know, I can't attest to it completely because I haven't used it, so.
Right.
I mean, we're relying on, it's, you know, we know it's a new use for an old product.
Right.
I guess.
Does the
You got a
manufacturer,
cost study between the difference between this full system with that much sub base and the unit versus concrete or asphalt? What the cost?
what the cost savings are? It's, well, you're
This
looking-
looks like it's expensive.
It's not
for a
cheap. No, it's like
large
$250
area.
a square foot.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not a cheap
It doesn't
product,
look
but
cheap.
it's got a 50-some year shelf life, life on it. So I'm looking at long term. You know, you throw asphalt on the ground, what kind of stuff's going to get into the water retention there? I mean, do you even know what tar is? I mean, it's
I don't think they build asphalt with the intention of holding it.
no, but
You
I'm
build
just
it
saying
to-
how it affects the
Correct.
environment down the road. And you got to put new sealers and stuff on it, every couple of years.
what is,
I could say I wouldn't use it on many installations. Brian's committed to it, and on paper, from my standpoint, everything looked good. That's kind of where we're at. You know, I probably wouldn't. I do have a couple applications that this would work very well for, but they're smaller and more isolated type areas.
what's the maintenance on it? Does the manufacturer call out maintenance?
They're saying buy their stuff is very little. I mean, and it's basically snapped together like Legos. So if you have a problem with it, you just pop it up and redo the surface or, whatever you got to do to
You don't have to go back and refill it occasionally.
because I mean, realistically, like when you guys like asphalt or concrete, you have, potholes and stuff like this. This stuff, you look at the webbing and it actually expands and contracts this way too. So you got this moving this way. So most of your surface that you have on your roads is tensile strength that you're losing there, and or you lose your sub base and you have potholes.
Mhm.
This is sitting on top.
So you don't have to refill the
I mean,
voids
you may
with
have
new.
to, but most of the stuff, your driving surface is right here on top. So, your voids here, you might pick up something in the wintertime if you have ice or something like that, but you can plow over top of this. Most of the time, you're just, you're bringing your plow up just a couple inches off the surface anyways on any kind of surface.
Mhm. Their literature says mitigates dust. Do they claim to be dust free?
They're,
I mean, I just know what I'm reading.
I know they've used it in like the monster truck stuff and used it in their bases in their arenas, and they're jumping these big monster trucks and they're showing it like no dust out there. And I know that they're putting out riggers
There's a picture
Extra
there
picture.
with the,
before and after on it.
with the end loader or something that
Mm-hmm.
one on gravel and one.
I think this would be for a city, for like what you guys use. I drove back here, I was just driving around the area today and looking around what commercial properties didn't have concrete or asphalt surfaces. And, I'm not pointing anything up, but I drove my vehicle over and back by the soccer fields. You got, I know you're probably going to pave it down the road or whatever, but that product would be perfect because you're not using it constantly. It's just I think you could have your city workers lay this stuff down. You're talking 1,000 square foot of this stuff could be laid down by one person in an hour. It just snaps together like Legos. When they come out in a pallet.
I mean, even their literature says it's basically an alternative to gravel roads and unconfined dirt and gravel surfaces. And their examples are parking lots, haul yards, and emergency access, which is the situations where I've seen it used, not as a primary parking lot in a development. I mean, I would agree. It works great for those situations. And that's where I've seen them done.
Did Rodney have any other comments about how he felt about
I
it?
think he was idle until, I think they owe him a lot of calculations and then waiting on this board.
The drainage, he and I were still working through the drainage.
Yeah, I don't foresee him giving you a whole lot of volume on your retention.
Oh, no, I'm not counting on it.
If
Not
it
for
was
the-
mine, I'd want
Not for
zero.
the literature, no.
The freezing thaw scared me.
No, I get that. Part of it's just how permeable is it? How much does it actually?
Well, if it's washed limestone under it, it's pretty
It
permeable.
should be. I know gravel I use like 25%, so this has got to be less than that.
Yeah, when it hits that clay layer, it's gonna sit there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the stone base you're proposing is like an open pipe. The only way you're ever gonna control that volume to hold it is to dike up around your perimeter tile enough to hold, you know what I'm saying? You
Well,
don't-
we're gonna be
you don't-
going through probably Norphus, that's normally what he has me do is we'll take the under drains to smaller yard detention area, smaller than what we normally would require. And then we'll have an outlet pipe with an orifice in it, probably an inch orifice or something. And that'll regulate all the flow from the entire site out. So Rodney doesn't usually let us off too easy on any of that. So the big thing with this probably with Rodney would be how permeable is it? How much runoff am I actually, taking to that storm system or to that detention area? So I don't look for him to give us much credit for the storage underneath in the base. But if you look at their stuff, now the one in Williams or Millersburg, they do have a detention area with that too. So they did similar deal. Now they do say if it's installed on a sandy soil, then you might get away with, total permeability. You can infiltrate into the sand. We don't have that out there.
Any other questions from the board? Dave's researching.
But you didn't do a cost analysis between,
Well, not on my particular,
Yeah.
I'm looking at initially probably right around, 16,000, somewhere around there, square foot.
I mean, if this is $2.50 a square foot.
Right.
Concrete placed over, what is it now? Is it
It's
$6?
gotta be over $160 a yard right now.
Yeah, but I mean, square footage wise, I mean, it's $6 installed. Probably square foot.
No.
Depends on the crew.
6 to 8.
Well, the crew and the form setup and the.
That's
area.
not, you're not talking materials, you're just talking what they're charging square foot.
I'm talking about installed.
Installed.
What is it a yard now?
Durable or $150, $160 a yard, depending on what you get in it.
What you got, Dave?
I'm just rereading that section again. So, Jim, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that what we are looking at tonight is, do we consider this product to be a durable and permanent dust-free surface?
A permit.
Yeah, it says permanent. It uses both words, permanent and durable dust-free
Paved.
surface.
It says paved.
The title is paving slash grading.
I thought it said paved permanent surface.
It doesn't say paved in the,
What it is.
the title is paving slash grading. And then, and it says that all the parking spaces, the driveways, all the circulation areas shall be improved with such material to provide a durable dust-free surface. And then parking areas for 5 vehicles or more shall be paved with a permanent dust-free
Paved.
surface. Paved, okay, so shall be paved with, yep.
That's what I read.
Do you have a site drawing? Got this one for future.
Yeah, he owns both lots, so maybe unless.
So Dave, see, parking areas for more than 5 vehicles shall be paved with a permanent dust-free surface in all commercial districts.
And it even says above that, the required parking spaces, the driveways and the aisles.
In other circulating.
Yeah, so everything. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean, the way it's worded, I interpret that to mean everything. I
Correct.
don't think that it means you can do just the aisle in stone and then pave the rest of it or anything
That's the
like
way
that.
we.
Yeah.
The intention is to do all of it. The paved, I know we're mincing words, but is paved, asphalt concrete, or is paved mean the process of paving something to overlay something? You know, I mean, you could get technical, and pavement could be the combined base and this thing. I mean, that could constitute as a pavement.
Well, I think that's why Rodney wanted it here, because he's asking this board to make the decision on whether this product is considered a paved surface. So I think that's what our responsibility is.
Dust-free part of it. You seem to be concerned with that.
All right, any other questions from the board? Anybody else here to speak for or against the matter? Obviously not. With that, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept waiver 1693-22.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Vukitic,
No.
Mr. Reed,
No.
Mr. Golis,
No.
Chairman Rowe.
No. All right, with that, we will adjourn our meeting at 5:31 PM.
So. It's tough.
I don't know.
You know, I think my big concern is